What's going on, guys? Today I have a fully guided neck and TMJ and scalp massage for you. Today's session will be divided up into those three areas: the anterior and posterior neck, activating the scalenes, all of the suboccipital muscles, and the trapezius. Then we will work into some lovely, if I do say so myself, TMJ work. TMJ massage is also good for lymphatic system. It helps to clear out any lymph that gets stuck in tight muscles. And then, of course, the chewing muscles, the masseter, the buccinator. And that will guide us into working onto the temporalis up at the forehead, and the forehead will guide us into a scalp massage, which, as I've said before, no massage is complete without a nice head massage.
There will also be two different angles of the neck massage, trying to show both sides.
So we warm up the massage like normal with lotion application and some long gliding strokes. And I take the client's head and I support it in my right hand while using my left hand and fingertips to do some broad, long, Swedish strokes. These are just warm-ups. We're making a circle of the entire triangle of the neck. I'm applying a little bit of pressure as I hold there firmly. However, this is nothing too deep just yet. We're only 2 minutes into the session. We have time to get into those deeper layers. As I feel I can begin deeper, I will switch to my knuckles here, and we're running that from the suboccipitals down the trapezius, all the way to the clavicle and the acromion of the shoulder, all the way out to those deltoid muscles. I'm bringing it back, and we're gonna follow that same pattern, using those knuckles to save our fingertips and, at the same time, apply some deeper pressure, running back into the subocs, and repeat. One of the scalene muscles, the posterior scalene, which I just began working right now with my deeper knuckles, the posterior scalene loves to fuse with trapezius. The traps and the post scalene are stuck on almost every client I work on, so it can feel like such a relief when you finally release those two muscles, because they do opposite actions. As I've warmed up the scalenes, I'm working in with my fingertip, and I'm actually beginning to get into the TMJ, that temporomandibular joint. So I'm starting there using my fingertips on the side of the neck, that is the scalenes and a little bit of SCM, and I'm gliding those fingertips up to both the suboccipital attachment, most likely semisplenius capitis and semisplenius cervicis. And when I do the TMJ work, getting close to that jaw, just notice how slow that I am going. It is so important to take our time. I'm basically holding right there. I'm hardly even gliding. And that's because this area is so tender. It is gonna hurt so many people. Don't be the source of their pain. Well, be a source a little bit of their pain, but in a nice way. Really take your time, go in with intent, and work right underneath the earlobe into that TMJ joint that is going to hold so much tension. People clench their teeth, people chew, people grind their teeth. Follow through along the jawline, working the masseter, using those fingertips to achieve deeper pressure In hindsight, I probably would have warmed up the cheek muscles a little bit more here. 5 minutes is a little quick to go in with the specific finger pressure, but sometimes when you're filming, things aren't always ideal, I suppose. But you can see the blood flow. This client has great hyperemia, localized blood flow in the cheek and the jaw. And I'm breaking up that TMJ work by coming in and releasing those suboccipital muscles some more. Everything is connected through myofascial chains, so working the subocs is going to release the jaw and vice versa. Nice squeeze on the scalenes and the traps with a little bit of a pin and stretch. Ooh, and using the thumb here on the deep traps and levator scapula, that big old bumpy muscle that most therapists have felt on their clients. You'll notice the speed of the massage as a whole is very slow. In any of my guided massages, I cannot stress enough how much I like to take my time. You'll see some really fast massaging out there, and that can be useful for certain practices, but generally, I'm 3 grandmas in a trench coat. Everything I do is going to be pretty slow. I bring the client's head back to neutral and do some rocking back and forth before applying more lotion and repeating the process on the other side of the head and neck. Now, this angle isn't as high def as the other one, so I'm sorry for the little bit lower quality, but I still think it was a cool lower down angle. I had forgotten my tripod, and it will still allow us to see what's going on. Actually, some pretty nice view of working the scalenes because they attach underneath the clavicle or the collarbone. So here I'm doing my broad fingertip strokes, starting at the midline close to the throat, and then wiping away, a little bit of finger nudges there. And I'm sliding underneath the collarbone to really work the insertions of the scalenes, before I then transition to my knuckle trapezius warm-up. Once again, supporting the client's head, putting their neck in a lengthened position to really work all of the fibers of the neck. And as I want to get deeper, transitioning into more specific knuckles to begin to work levator scapula, trapezius, and posterior scalene. Those 3 will be talked about a lot. Nice specific suboccipital works. Using my fingertips to work the subocs pretty specifically. And we saw a nice muscle pop there, where we kind of popped off of a muscle border that both released it, but you got to see it jump out, no doubt the middle scalene. There are 3 scalenes, if I haven't mentioned, anterior, middle, and posterior towards the back. Scalenes are also important to work, not just for TMJ purposes, but because tight scalenes will often impinge upon the brachial plexus, which is a nerve bundle in the neck, and that can send shooting pain down the arm and feel it in the shoulder. So sometimes a client's shoulder pain is actually coming from their neck. looks like I'm beginning to work the TMJ. So same technique as we did on the other side. Very slow pull behind the jaw, working up underneath the ear into that temporomandibular joint. As calming and relaxing as these massages are, TMJ work is gonna hurt on most people, so they might not be as willing to fall asleep on this type of massage, but they will feel so much better. And finished up with that side. I'm bringing the client's head back to neutral, and we're going into a nice earlobe massage and transitioning into some bilateral jaw work, massaging both sides at once, starting from the ear and pushing towards the chin, towards the mouth. This will feel good on just about everybody. Supporting my fingertips with my thumb up at the temporalis. Just looking for any graininess or little adhesions that you can find within the jaw. Maneuver your way up towards the temporalis, doing nice finger circles. My goodness, this technique just melts people. It feels so good. This is what will send people into a dream state. And keep walking your way up towards a scalp massage. Don't be afraid to apply some decent pressure, really working the myofascial restrictions that we find in the head, in the scalp. I would take a fair bet and say that most people are stressed today. And so this is a key to unlocking that stress. Even to this day, I still love watching head massages. It's one of the first videos I found on YouTube, and it's so awesome to be able to make them myself now and kind of share the wealth so that other people can enjoy them too, because man, I feel very relaxed after watching any massage, but particularly head massages. We're going to wipe away the forehead using more of a broad surface of the palm and fingers. And wipe away the eyebrows. One final pull of traction to lengthen out that cervical spine. Push their shoulders down. And that is our massage. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it.